Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1651 AN. Today's date is August 29th, 2018, and the title of the episode is The Total Implosion of the Central Banking Economy Accelerates. Now, I just wanted to let everyone know that I uploaded a new interview with Michael Pinto. It is on the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel. So all you need to do is go over to YouTube, type in X22 Report Spotlight. It will bring you to the interview, or you can come over to the X22report.com site or newsentinel.com site. Scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side. You'll see the interview right there. You can play it right on the site, or you can go to Steemit, that is steemit.com/@X22Report, and you can play the interview right on Steemit. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, when we think of the economy, not just here in the United States, but globally, we need to remember something very important. This economy that we're in, it's not a people's economy. This was designed by the central bank. And there's no reason to keep this economy going. There's no reason to repair it, which it can't. But the whole purpose of what we're seeing right now is to get rid of the central banker's economy. And the only way to do that is to destroy it and create an economy without the central bank behind it. Because all the central bank does is loan the people currency with interest attached. And where do they get it? Out of thin air. They push a button. That's it. They do absolutely nothing else. They don't balance everything. They don't keep the economy going. If that is true, we wouldn't have all these crashes. They'd be able to forecast a recession. There's no reason to have a central bank. We were tricked into accepting them. And this has happened many, many times before. There's no reason why we need an outside corporation, which is not part of the people, to loan us currency, where they're just creating it out of thin air. It makes no sense whatsoever. So keep that in mind when we talk about the economy. And remember, they know their design only lasts 40 to 45 years at the most. Maybe they can keep it going a little bit longer, but eventually what happens is it all breaks down. And remember, we started this new system back in the 70s, 1971. It is now 2018, and here we are at, 47 years or so? So we're at that point where this entire thing is going to completely break down and implode. Now, they thought this was going to happen a while ago. They were preparing for it, and they were going to use an event. We talked about this many, many times before. And we need to understand that it is impossible for this entire system to pay down the debt to zero. Because think about it. In the very early stages, when they created the central bank and they made that first dollar loan to the government owed what? $1.25? Where do you get the 25 cents? It doesn't exist. They can't do anything except borrow more. So there's always going to be more owed than dollars that are out there. It's completely impossible to pay this down. So when we look at this economy, we can see that it was meant and it was designed to break apart after a certain period of time, because it wasn't built to create a thriving economy where the people flourish. It was created to make the upper echelon very, very wealthy, to allow the central bank to keep control over everything. That's what it was really designed for. And they just keep restarting it. I mean, after World War II, we went on to the central bank system. Bretton Woods, 1971, petrodollar system. And now they want to bring us to the next system. This has been the plan for a very long time. And what we're seeing is that retail stores, they have completely imploded on themselves. Now, a lot of people say, well, it's online sales. Everything's moving to online sales. But we're already seeing signs that online sales, well, they're starting to slow. Best Buy reported a drop in quarterly online sales growth. They're afraid that online sales have hit a peak at this time. Eventually, everything will hit a peak. And what happens is all these stores, they have online presence. And it doesn't mean that everyone's saying, hey, you know something, I'm not going to shop in the brick and mortar. I'm going to go to their online store and buy there. Everyone is not running to Amazon to purchase everything from Amazon. This is a $1 trillion industry, and it's not a 1-to-1 ratio where everything is moving to online. So what we're seeing right now is that Best Buy said in a statement that domestic online sales rose 10.1% in its second quarter, ending August 1st. That compares with 12% in the first quarter. And what they're seeing is that people are starting to move away from online and from brick and mortar at the same time. Because what happens when an economy breaks down? Well, your extra spending money completely disappears because you don't have that high-paying job. You have a part-time job. A lot of people are out of the market right now because they can't find work. This has been going on for a very long time, and all they do is manipulate the numbers to make you think that everything is fantastic. If we look at home sales right now, we know that existing new home sales, they have declined. We see mortgage applications, they are dropping. And now pending home sales, they missed expectations, dropping 0.7% month on month. So now we have existing new home and pending sales all falling. Now, pending home sales, they have declined for the 7th straight month in a row. Now, think about what's happening here. We have all these different indicators telling us that home sales are declining. Now, this is during a period where home sales are supposed to be very, very strong. This is the spring, summer months. We are heading into the fall, winter months where real estate starts to slow. Now, in September, the Fed is looking to raise interest rates once again. If they do this, guess what's going to happen to mortgage applications? Guess what's going to happen to new home, existing home, pending home sales? They're all going to decline further. And if we look at the sentiment for home buying, we see that it's the worst since Lehman. This is not going to improve. And what is happening here is this economy is imploding on itself. Now, while all this is happening, Trump is pushing that this economy is the best economy we've ever seen in our lifetime. Actually, right now, the second quarter GDP revised higher now to 4.2%, strongest in 4 years. This is all being done on purpose. Yes, we have the same debt load. Actually, we have more debt now. The unemployment numbers, yes, they're manipulated just like they were when Obama was in his term. The GDP numbers completely manipulated and shifted to make GDP numbers move up very, very quickly. Retail still declining. Online sales starting to decline. Automobile manufacturing declining. A lot of the data they're not even reporting anymore. Yes, they're still channel stuffing. And we can see that everything is continually moving the same way it was. They really didn't change much. The only thing that they're changing is how they're going to prepare this system for when we get out of the central banking economy. You have to destroy the globalist trade deals. You have to destroy whatever the central bank has set up. And this takes some time. And you can see already that it is working. We're getting bilateral trade agreements. Countries are coming into the fold. Mexico. And now we hear Justin Trudeau says that NAFTA deal with the U.S. might be possible by Friday. And we see that there are a lot of other countries out there that are looking to make bilateral trade agreements with the United States. And eventually what's going to happen, the World Trade Organization and the globalist plans, everyone's going to push them aside. We see Macron has already said that times are changing. Everything is shifting. The people are realizing that we've been snowed all this time. And it is time to get out of this central bank economy. This is what we are seeing right now. Every single step that is being taken right now is to move us away and out of this system into a brand new system. Something that has nothing to do with the central bank because they won't exist. Now, if the central banks are so fantastic, why do we see all of these countries in debt? Remember, since 1913, we've been brainwashed to think that debt is a good thing. Borrowing is a good thing. Interest is a good thing. And if you look at, just say, the U.S. economy right now, what do we see? We see everyone drowning in student loan debt, whoever went to school. Everyone is drowning in a car loan, either financed or lease. If you're leasing, you never get rid of that loan. You just keep rolling it over to the next car. You're in constant debt, never ending. You see mortgages. Everyone's drowning in mortgages. There's interest attached with everything. The central banker's plan was to keep everyone in debt, to keep countries in debt, to keep control over them. And this is how their system works. Because when the value of the dollar decreases, and you need more dollars to pay for that car, to pay for that Apple, to pay for that home, and the wages don't keep up with the devaluing dollar, you can't afford anything. And the only thing that you can do is take out loans. Just think back over time when you take a look at the entire economic system and you go back to 1913. People didn't need credit cards back then. People were able to purchase their cars. People were able to purchase their food with cash. People were able to purchase everything. As time went on and the value of the dollar decreased, we needed more and more credit. Now, fast forward to 1970 when we came off the gold standard. Think about what happened at that point, where all of a sudden now there's no checks and balances. We're off the gold standard. The central bank can create currency by pushing a button, and the governments are able to borrow as much as they want. Well, that value of that dollar decreases. If it decreases, you need a lot more of them to pay for that item. Now, in the beginning stages in 1970, you really don't notice it. You don't notice anything. You don't really feel it as of yet. The 80s, they had to drop the interest rates, which we saw happen. Everything started to even out. And all of a sudden, we saw the credit boom. People taking out more loans to do things, borrowing because they told us it was a good thing. As we were moving into the 90s and 2000, we saw that inflation was hitting. Everything was costing a lot more. Prices on homes moved up. College tuition moved up. Food was continually moving up. And yes, they played tricks on us where they changed the packaging, where they made the packages smaller, kept the price the same, swapped out different food items and made you think that it was the same exact food item. They started adding chemicals to the foods to make you think that, oh, this is the same exact food, but it was really replacing the more expensive real food with the fake chemical foods. They did all these tricks. Now we're at the point where the value of the dollar is continually decreasing. And over this period of time, we saw that we couldn't afford anything. I can't go out and purchase a car. Yes, it first started out, I had to finance it. Maybe for 36 months. Then we moved to 48 months. Then we moved to 60 months. Now 72 months. Now people can't even finance that. And we had to move to leasing, to rent your automobile, which will keep you constantly in debt because the lease just never ends because the value of the dollar decreases. Mortgages, they have gone past 30 years because people couldn't afford the homes. And the value of the homes, they kept on rising, and that's because the dollar value kept on falling. Same thing with college tuition. So you had to take more and more out. Their system is designed not to make you wealthier, but it's designed to make you poorer. Those individuals in the beginning stages, well, they had an easier time. Those people that are in it now are having a little bit more difficult time. And yes, there are certain people that get around the system. They're able to make a lot more money. But remember, they wanted to keep the masses down. And if you look, there are a lot more, well, there's hardly any middle class, but a lot more poor middle class than there are wealthier. That's why they call them the 1%. So you can see how their system was completely designed in this way. We need to move away from the system, and that's what this is all about. This is the entire plan. It's to get rid of the central bank. It's to get rid of the deep state. And that's why we're going to transition now into something completely different, separate and apart from the central banking system. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.